We're making paneer, which is pretty much my favourite thing in the world to eat, or one of them. Paneer is charman in Kashmiri, so whenever Dad made charman for dinner, it was always massive celebration. It's a little bit of a step process, but I'm going to take you through all of it. The first process is the actual making of the paneer itself, which involves splitting milk with lemon juice and yogurt. The second step is the frying of the paneer, and then the third step is the spicing. So you need full fat milk, preferable. You can do this with soy milk. I've tried with oat milk and it didn't work. To cut that bit out. So this is 3 litres of milk, and it will make a volume of paneer, you know, easily enough for 4 people. So that has to go on high, has to go on high heat, and it is going to take a little bit of time to come to the boil, so we'll come back to it. So the milk's coming to a boil on the stove. I have my eye on it. And then what we need to do is juice a lemon, or 2, enough to split 3 litres of milk. So it depends on the juiciness of the lemon, but if you have a nice juicy lemon and it's in season, 2 is normally sufficient. I'll take the yogurt over there as well. So the reason I'm stirring it is because it sticks to the bottom, and it's always a pain to clean my pots afterwards. So just a little bit of movement helps that to, you know, not be such a drama afterwards. What we're waiting for is for the milk to climb the pot. The milk will actually climb up the sides, and once it starts to climb, you just drop your acid in, your lemon juice, and turn off the heat. The type of acid you use to split the milk has an impact. Lemon has the right kind of intensity of acidity to split the milk without, and then sweetness in there as well, so that it contributes an actual aromatic quality to the paneer itself. Lime juice is sweeter than lemon, and it takes a lot more lime juice to split milk than lemon juice. And very sharp vinegars will split your milk quickly, but they'll also denude the milk of some of its creamy flavour. So there is a reason that lemon juice is used. I know, because I've tried them all. So nearly there. See how the top of it's basically looks like cappuccino froth. See if I leave it, it starts to climb. There it goes. Now split and turn it off, or it's going to go everywhere, which also happens with regularity. And so what we're waiting for, pop the yogurt, because this will help it to split as well, just mildly. The yogurt has a very mild acidity, but it helps the curds to retain some creaminess. All right, so that's going to get stirred through, and then watch, as it's stirring, see this? That pale yellow liquid, and then the curds are distinct. See that? That's it. If you don't have enough lemon juice, you can stop and turn your stove off and get more and tip it in, and it will still split. It's really forgiving as a process. The first few times I did it, I was terrified. I don't know, there's something so scary about it because it's so magical, the way that it just converts one product into 2 different products. But yeah, it's very simple. And it smells incredible. It smells like sweet, dairy, lactose, lemon. Delicious. So I'm going to strain this into a strainer and a muslin cloth. Okay. Now, you definitely want to reserve the whey because you need it for the second part of the paneer process. So I just put a little catch pot underneath the strainer, and then just put my thin it's an old tea towel that I use as a muslin, and then it's spitting a little bit. And then you just fold it up like this. Drop it tight. Ooh, tie it straight onto the kitchen sink. That's how Mum and Dad used to do it. Used to hang in the laundry. There we go. Little curd parcel. There we go. And that'll hang there till tomorrow. Now, between you and me, I'm going to start with this one, okay, that I prepared earlier. Because the paneer, once it's made, has to hang basically for 24 hours. So I made this one yesterday. And what you just want to do is, you can see I'm doing it as I'm talking to you, is just cut the paneer into bite-sized chunks. So not too small, because it does have to be fried. And when you fry it, it's going to break apart a little bit. I just fry this in a plain vegetable oil. The oil has to be relatively hot, and the vessel needs to be quite deep. So it's deep frying, not shallow frying. When you shallow fry paneer, it tends to stick to the base of the pan, and then all sorts of tears occur because you're basically breaking the curd cheese apart that you've spent all that time making. So I use my kadai. Come over with me. I'm just looking for my special paneer spatula. It's my Kaylin Lewis manufactured. My big boy made me that one. One of the differences with paneer is when we fry it, it's not drained on paper towel, it's put straight into cold water, and the cold water draws the excess oil off the outer surface area of the cheese. Okay, so it's going to go there. I'm just going to test the heat. So that's not hot enough. You want it to start bubbling away as soon as it hits the surface. My boys love paneer, and it's always, like, I don't know if it's depressing or gratifying that it can take me 2 days to make it, really, from beginning to end. By the time I've made the cheese, hung the cheese overnight, fried it, and then cooked it, and they eat it in like 5 minutes. All right, see that? That makes me happy enough. Okay, so see how the texture's changed? And it's just browned off a little bit, but it's not super caramelized. So the reverse of it, it's a little bit firm. Just watch you don't get water on your spatula. So it's going to react with the oil. That's fine. So just in small batches so you can control the browning, and the fact that the oil is so deep means that I don't have to turn them and flip them around too much, so they're not going to break apart. Don't get your spatula involved until they've had a chance to brown, because what happens is if you hit them too early, they stick to the spatula and then they all tear. So give them time to form a crust like that, and then you just peel them out without damage. I know I've said this before, but Dad always used to tell me how simple it was to cook these traditional dishes before I was cooking them for myself, as a way to encourage me to get involved in the kitchen. And once I started cooking and realised that it wasn't like as simple as he said, he's like, yeah, actually you're right. There's a lot of time involved and a lot of thought. So basically time and thought equates with balance of flavour and good expression of produce. So it's pretty difficult to make beautiful food without taking a little bit of care. Just waiting for the right moment. See, that's nice, but wouldn't want it much browner than that. That's kind of plenty. I'll probably finish it off with these, I reckon. All right, so I'm gonna bring this over to the bench and I'm actually gonna spice over here. And the reason for that is that paneer spicing is quite complex, or my paneer spicing is quite complex. Easiest way to show you is to do it in front of you. So I'm going to pop the ghee in. So ghee is classic flavour in terms of spice. It helps spice to communicate, you know, very, very clearly. With sort of traditional tone. So ginger tastes gingery, turmeric tastes like turmeric. It doesn't sort of alter the appearance of the spice the way that some fats do. Pink salt, a teaspoon, and a third of a teaspoon of a fine white salt. So a little bit more sodium push without overwhelming on the saltiness by using 2 different salts. Half a teaspoon of turmeric. I'm actually going to put these out as I do it, so you can see the end result. A little bit of Kashmiri chili, about a half a teaspoon. Teaspoon and a half of fennel powder, 2/3 of a teaspoon of ginger, 1/3 of a teaspoon of amchur, third of a teaspoon of mace powder, cinnamon quill, 3 cloves, cumin seed, 3 teaspoons of that, two teaspoons of coriander powder, and we'll finish at the end of the dish with a little bit of garam masala. Okay, this is an expedition for a little bit later, but I'm going to get this on. So lastly is a couple of green cardamom pods. Let's say 4. And then tomato. I'll probably do 2.5 tomatoes. The tomato. All right. Okay, let's go across. This is going to get on a medium heat just to temper. Now I am actually going to add a few extra bits and bobs. One of those things is a little bit of jaggery. So I do talk about jaggery on my channel. I'll put the description in the link below. It's a cane sugar and a very caramelized, buttery, delicious, fatty quality. It's not sharp. So with jaggery, you just wait for it, because see the little chunks? Just wait for it to warm through, and once it's warmed through, you can just press onto it with your wooden spoon, and it becomes part of the masala, and that way it moves through the whole blend, and it will go through the whole dish evenly. Okay, let's taste this. So yummy. It's like earthy, like the cumin's like so sweet and earthy, and all of the bitter minty quality of it goes away. Oh, the ghee's sweet and rich, the jaggery comes through. It's what it felt like walking in my front door every day after school. That's what it felt like, which was just warm and delicious and aromatic and Oh, you just knew what was coming. So much goodness. I love that aroma. That it tastes just like my family. So I'm going to put a bit of tomato in here because I want a little bit of a bed. And then typically I would serve it with peas. I'm not doing it onto the paneer for any other reason than that's where my strainer is. It's not a secret tip or anything. So this is the whey that we reserved from making the paneer earlier. And you can see the point that we've got to, where the oil's split and the tomato's starting to reduce, and you can see all that richness. That's what I want my paneer to bathe in. And coats. And then the key to this dish is thyme cooking down. So this whey goes back into the paneer. You just want to take it so that the paneer looks like kind of icebergs. So you don't want to cover it totally, but you just want them to be peeking out. And then this gets cooked down. The whey is the residue product from the making of the cheese. So there's protein in here, there's lemon, there's acidity, there's a bit of that milky flavour. And what we're doing was we're coming full circle with flavour. So when you split a product and you take, one part of it out and then you remove and you take the other part over there, what you're essentially doing is dividing flavour and dividing texture. So we have to do that. To make the paneer, right, you've got to split the milk and you've got to get the curds and then you've got to get the whey and separate them. But by putting the whey back with the fresh curd cheese, it's like you are exponentially increasing that beautiful dairy profile, the sweetness, the acidity, by reapplying the whey later in the cooking process and then cooking the paneer down in its own body, essentially. It's also a way to ensure that as it cooks down, the spice is going to cook up, and so you're bringing the spice up further deeper into the dish, and that's how we use liquids and spices in this slow cooking process. And the end result of this dish is very soft because of the dairy component, and then very complex because of the cooking down component. So it's the best of both worlds, and it's so delicious. So this has been cooking away and basically done now. Let me try it. It's just, everything comes together. The curd is fresh and cool. The tomato is the perfect balance of sweetness and acidity. The spicing is like this just warm, enveloping feeling. Nothing's overwhelming. Like the best Kashmiri Pandit food, the flavour is soft and complex. And like I kind of run out of words. I don't really know what to say. This is my childhood. This is my childhood. I want you to make it and taste it and then appreciate what that means. There's so much history and there's so much story in these kinds of recipes. And, I say it all the time, but my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and, just like most parent-child relationships, there was flaws and difficulties, but if I ever want to be close to him, it's this food. And my kids love it. And it brings them back around to him as well. So, I don't know, it's not a taste for me, it's a whole experience. And I'm sorry if I'm not doing it justice in terms of describing it for you, but I don't really know what to say other than to try and making it. And yeah, it's magic, really magic, beautiful.